This is Sarah.
Erin, Brianna,
and Joe. And thanks for popping by Meaning Fueled, where we take your problems of practice, your pops, and have a meaning-fueled discussion about where they come from and where to go from there.
We are four longtime educators bringing our diverse experiences to the table.
We're harnessing all the energy of popping into your teacher bestie's classroom and bringing it straight to your ears.
Let's get poppin' with today's problem of practice.
You open up your email at the end of another day to see what you missed while you were, busy teaching. At the top of the inbox, there's an email from your principal and the rest of your team mentioning in some very vague language that they need to meet with you all before school starts tomorrow morning to discuss some of the changes upcoming for next year. And your anxious brain goes a little crazy. Is it a new math curriculum? A truckload of new students coming from who knows where? You take the night to overthink a million different scenarios, and when you get to school the next morning, the truth gets thrown at you like a ton of bricks. They are reducing the grade level from 4 classrooms down to 3, and you, personally, are being moved to a different school in the district because there simply is no room for you. And now go welcome your students.
What a great time to tell you that this is happening right before the students come.
Yep.
I mean, is there a good time?
No.
No.
But
No,
before school, before the children come?
that's
A
a bad
forced
time.
job change is like, you can never, there's not a good time.
No.
And I can say that because this is my story, everyone. It happened, I don't know, 3.5 years ago now, but it is as crystal clear as if it happened yesterday. When my principal delivered this news to me by handing me a form letter from the superintendent that morning, I just burst into tears. I loved my school so much. I had been there for 9 years, and I had worked so hard to have such a strong team and gotten so close to my colleagues as a whole. And 9 years in, and the district decides you're the expendable one. And that's just, it's so disheartening. And I just felt so unappreciated in a way that there aren't enough words to describe. I can't, and I won't speak for everyone, but my identity was so tied to being a teacher and how I saw myself that my world felt like it was crumbling around me. And if you're in that same place, I am sending you just a big long distance hug because it is so hard, and I'm in a different position now. Everything's good, but talking about this is making me upset. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize. This was a very emotional time. I was on the receiving end of what Sarah went
Just on
through.
the other side of the door.
On the
as I
other
was
side of the
told
door.
this.
Sarah and I became very close at work. She was my maid of honor in my wedding. And we became very fast close friends. I was so mad that I was losing my best friend at work, not only because Sarah and I became such amazing friends, but also because I was losing a mentor, and I'm going to get emotional now too. But I was losing a mentor. I was losing someone who I looked up to for advice, for that parent email, somebody I trusted to go to someone who would never judge me, someone who I really did look up to on a daily basis.
So nice, thank you.
Someone I would burst into tears in front of in the middle of the day because something went and happened, and I was losing my person that would get me through the day. And it felt very unfair that I was so angry because I had my job and I didn't have to move. But I felt very, very lost the next year when my person was not next door. And it was and again, I cannot be upset in this situation. It does not seem fair. I was very lost because I didn't have that person that was helping me get through my day, not only as a friend, but just as an amazing colleague too.
Oh.
And, I think that's the interesting part here is that there was so much, when you think about the decision-making process, right, that goes into these things and why change and I think in this situation, it was convenient for them.
Oh, it was so
Right.
convenient for the
Because
district.
it was from a district lens,
Yep.
it was we need a third grade teacher at this other building. Sarah's a strong third grade teacher, and so like solves the problem over there of like they didn't want too many new people.
It always
right?
happens to the strong people.
Right. It
Well,
always
and-
happens to the strong people.
And when it was described to me, it was like, well, it's a one person is affected. And I was like, okay, screw you, right to
Yeah.
my face.
Well, right, because you had seniority over so many other people in your building.
Over half
Right.
the building. I could have.
Right.
She had it over me. I mean,
Right. Yeah. That. And yet it was right. And you'd even taught multiple grade levels at that building, so it's not like you only knew third grade curriculum.
Yep.
And yet, you know, from their lens, it upset the least amount of people. And you know,
Yep.
just so we can like, you know, tell the listeners that, like the fun we got to have with this. We then moved Sarah's classroom
Uh-huh.
Because you guys are the best friends.
into this
new building.
the new building, while you know she continued to search for ways to say "fuck you" to this district, and we
And by
were-
that, we mean I just was looking anywhere else for a
Yep.
different job.
and so we moved all of her stuff in. We're like setting up book bins, starting to think about where the bulletin boards
Yep.
were going to be, and then Sarah got another job and got to
2
tell-
weeks.
No, days.
Days.
No, because my new school starts prior to Labor Day. This district always starts after Labor Day.
You gave them like a week to find a new person.
I gave them like a week, maybe a week and a half.
to find a new teacher for the entire school
But that's
year.
when I got hired. I wasn't like
No.
holding out on them.
No.
But then we had to move all the stuff out
Right on out
Of-
into my basement.
of the new school. And I mean, then that's the other side of it. I mean, I think when you are kind of screwing around with people's, you know, like their livelihood, their identity, right? Like it's pretty deep. Like as teachers, the school, if you feel deeply rooted in a school community, and you feel like that deep connection, it's not just a personnel move. You know, it is much deeper than that.
And the school was so close. Like a lot has changed since I moved on. But like at the
Yes,
time,
they
we were
restructured
like,
the district after
yeah,
that.
yeah,
and
yeah.
all
we
kinds
were
of
like
things.
such a tight community of teachers
Small
together.
school, tight
that, like,
community. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, in this case, it was a district kind of decision. Like your principal,
Oh, she was mad.
yeah, she was on your
But-
side and wanted to keep you. I mean, I've been on the side of it where it's really more at the school building level, where you know the principal is looking at their teachers and deciding that like some changes need to happen, and you know whether that is there's some teams that are stronger than others, whether there's personality clashes that are happening on certain teams. I mean, there are definitely times when I think good admin recognize that there are opportunities to, you know, make things better for the building.
You're being very eloquent.
Well, thank you. I mean, I guess on the flip side of that, I'll just call it out. I know plenty of situations where like admin shake shit up for the sake of it.
Right.
And, you know, it causes chaos. And we've talked at length about the amount of time that it takes to prepare to teach curriculum and forcing people to switch grade levels, like just because or without really good justification is asinine and like shouldn't happen. We're cursing more in this episode than we've ever
Yes.
cursed before on this podcast, but I think it is like it does it like it really is like the heart
It
of
hits you so hard.
yeah. And I'm like there are all sorts of those situations flashing through my head
Yeah.
as we talk about this. So not talking about that principal, but talking about the one who is doing it in a thoughtful way. After my first year, my principal realized that like I was really strong, and I had joined some strong people, and now our team was like
You're the
Un-
superheroes.
They're the all-stars.
we were like unbalancedly, there you go. We'll be very less eloquent, unbalancedly good.
they're the Monstars in
And
Space Jam.
There you go. And so he didn't move me, which again,
First year teacher.
first year teacher. I just learned the whole curriculum. That would have been
Smart.
terrible.
Smart. But
But he moved the two people on the team that I was like the closest with because
Right.
they were very good teachers, and I learned so much from them. And he moved one to fourth grade, and was looking to, I think, spur some new ideas and innovation on that team. And then he moved another one to first grade, I think because she had a lot of like reading and even like more science of reading, even back
in the
then.
day.
Even back in the day, I think she had like, stronger early literacy and wanted her to like share that with the first grade team. So,
And how did that go overall for people?
When
I think it was largely successful.
Okay.
I think the first grade team.
I was gonna say there were some big feelings. I remember when
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was announced and like, but
Yeah, I think
You
in
know.
the long run, it did actually do the things it needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
There was also like one first grade teacher who like really needed to go.
Sure.
And putting a strong person who was like gonna be like pushing, the curriculum kind of think helped accelerate that person, saying that they were all set. So yeah, I think overall, like it was forced. There were feelings. It's certainly not as extreme as Sarah's situation where you're like kicking them to different buildings. And I do think in the long run, it was some, benefits for everyone, eventually. So not the worst, It did need to be forced because no one was ever going to volunteer
Right.
to
Right,
do it.
yeah.
We were a great team. We all loved each other, working together. So like, it did have to be forced. But I think I can, in retrospect, appreciate it.
Sure.
I think it depends on your reasoning behind it.
yeah,
I mean, I think that, Sarah, in your situation, watching you go through it and fight and try to find the reasoning why was where it fell down. It was really like
Well,
there wasn't this, in their minds, it was affecting one person, but like their rationale behind what other moves could have been made, like just kind of fell to the wayside, and sometimes like principals have the notion that if you teach more than, if you've taught first and second and third and fourth, it like makes you a stronger teacher. And I don't necessarily agree with that because I really think there is something about staying and honing your craft.
Yep.
And on the flip side of that, devil's advocate wise, I have physically seen colleagues that have had to change and it's actually helped them. Like it's actually ended up after big feelings and commotion and identity crises, like it actually has made it better. Like they are a better teacher for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that takes like a craft of a principal to be
Yep.
able to do that.
Yeah.
Like that is not everyone. And shaking things up, like you said, just to shake things up, sometimes your perception and in your head ends up different than like the execution of actual people together. Like on paper, they seem like they'd be great as a team, and then they might not be.
Well, right, and I think that's the other piece that plays in here. And I don't
There's a lot
I
of
don't know if
bias.
there's a right or wrong answer. I've seen it done where a principal like blows up the whole building.
Yep.
And says like
Everyone's
moving because like in some ways that's the most equitable.
Right.
Or like usually like one person stays on each team, so there's like someone
there's
who knows,
like an anchor.
Yeah.
who knows
Yeah.
the curriculum. But like pretty much everybody else moves, and in some ways that feels better because no one feels targeted or singled out. And yet in other ways, it's like a lot of upheaval, a lot of unknowns. Now you've got a bunch of different, new teams forming and having to deal with the ramifications of that. But on the flip side, if you only move a couple people, those people feel targeted.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
like, and if that doesn't work out, then it's, kind of feel like even worse.
And it's a gamble and risk that you could lose people.
Right.
Like they're gone.
And
And
some
that-
people
Mhm.
do lose people
They
because we
do.
move on with our
Because they don't want to
lives.
play, what do they
No.
say? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Right.
Right.
You know?
That's right. All right. So if you find yourself in this, let's call it crappy situation, and you're in a non-desirable, forced job change, how do you handle it? Professionally, personally, etc.
I think there's do's and don'ts in these situations. Do have a good cry.
Yep.
I mean, Sarah and I were both getting emotional there. We're emotional people. Have a good cry. Cry by yourself. Cry to those people that know you the best and are going to support you. You're allowed to be sad. Sure, it's just a job because those people are going to tell you that it's just a job.
You'll be great at the other school or at the other grade
And
level.
they're trying
right.
very hard
Yeah.
to like be supportive, but in that case, it's like you still have a job, but you're losing what you built
Yep.
Yep.
for yourself is very sad. Crying it out can really help get over that shock. And then it's like, okay, after that, like, what do you do next? But crying really helps me and it can help a lot of people in those situations.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys some don'ts because they're things that I did. And I'm here to tell you from retrospect, they're not awesome ideas. So don't lash out at people who don't deserve it. I got so angry at other teachers in my building who I personally deemed that were more expendable than myself because I felt, like Joe said, I was feeling targeted and like those, whether or not I was being targeted by the higher ups does not matter. That is how I felt. So I then was just like, what about these guys? And I think I made it known, if I'm being quite honest with myself. And like, I thought like, if they were just a little bit more aware of their position in the school, they should have volunteered to move. And I could have stayed at my school. I'd have to learn a new grade, whatever. But like, it's really unfair and they're wrong and I'm right. It's not their fault that I was moved. They didn't make this choice. Obviously, they didn't volunteer to move buildings. Like,
Because who's going to do that, really?
so like, really put it into perspective. Don't lash out at the people who don't deserve it. Another don't is to like stay mad or stay sad. Those are natural emotions and feelings to be having in this situation. And you need to have them because bottling them up never works. But you need to kind of let go of things that aren't serving you and let go of things that aren't going to like bring about any positive to your life. So
Is that Marie Kondo it? Right?
yeah. Just
Those feelings no longer bring you joy.
Does it bring you joy? No,
Nope,
great.
bye.
Let it go.
Feel it, let it go.
I'm going to say that you need to fight for yourself.
Yes.
If you're lucky enough to have a teachers union or representatives or anything, I mean, I think it's worth seeing if there's something that you can do about it. Especially depending on who's making the decision and how. At least hearing that rationale, trying your best to reach out to all the resources you have. And also, like, it feels extreme at some points to be like, I need to write in grievances or I need to file like formal paperwork. But I do think that's worth it. It's truly rocking your entire world than like also trying to figure out what's the pull, right? Is it the grade shift? Is it that I'm at a different building, right? Could this shift, be okay? Is it a district shift? Is it something else? Like really teasing it out and getting them to justify it to you. Cause like it's a forced job change, as we said, it's not a voluntary job change. So I think hearing the justification for it, even if you disagree with it,
you're
worth
owed
it.
that,
Yeah.
right?
Well-
And I think you're right. So like fighting for the explanation that you're owed, even if it's not what you want to hear,
Right.
Like
Well, I was going to say I did this. I did fight for myself and I did file a union grievance with the district about it. And I forced them to say to my face that I was expendable. I forced them to tell me that like I wasn't good enough to stay at my school with my current work. And they, they kind of danced around it because people at that level are politicians. But I made them put a face to my name on paper who was the one person affected.
Right.
So
and I think with that, like, and this is what Sarah did as well. I think anytime you're in this forced job change, it's a time of reflection.
yeah.
And so it is time for you to think about where you want to be, and if this really isn't going to work for you. I think especially if you like your school and you like where you've been, we can get all kind of stuck, right? And you maybe stop considering what else is out there. And I can say, like, there was even, like, definitely a notion in the school I worked at the longest that, like, you don't leave.
Right.
You
Yeah.
kind of put up with everything here because, devil is better.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
also, like, no one's going to hire you once you, get to a certain spot on the pay scale.
Yep.
You'll never be able to leave. I mean, it was very much like people don't leave. And when admin kind of knows that, then I feel like they feel like if that's the culture and they feel like they can move people, do these forced changes with like little risk because, nobody leaves here. And I think the best thing we can do, like collectively as a profession, and I think the best thing you can do for yourself is to at least explore. It doesn't mean the grass is always greener. It doesn't mean that you'll find something that's better.
Yep.
But
you
you
know,
have some options when
it's better to have options.
Yes,
Yeah.
right?
exactly.
It is always better to have options, and you might surprise yourself. I would say, 9 out of the of every 10 people that I talk to who have gone through a situation like this, like, it turns out they did discover something else.
Yeah.
And whether that is something else just being a different school or a different grade level that they ended up loving or whether it's another role within education altogether, right? Like that little bit of a push of like, I don't really like what this district is doing to me right now, or I don't really like what this principal is doing to me right now. I'm going to see what else is out there. And this kind of gives me an excuse to see what else is out there. Because let me tell you, as someone who's had to ask for like letters of rec, it's awkward, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
principal, can you write me a letter of recommendation because I want to leave here? I mean, what a weird,
Right.
awful, hard thing that's like part of our profession. I guess it's part of any profession. I don't
Yeah,
really know.
sure.
I don't know how
I was going to
strict-
say, this is all we know. So.
I don't know. When you like apply to a new law firm, do they make you like get a letter of rec from your old law firm?
That's a good point.
I don't even know.
Couldn't say.
Someone tell us.
Honestly, don't know.
In education, you have to. You can't even submit the application without 3 letters. And it, can be like extremely awkward, but this gives you an in, being like, hey,
Right.
this forced change is coming, and I owe it to myself to look. And it gives you that opportunity to, to get that and to look at those options. So I think that's an absolute do in this situation.
Well, to wrap this on up, if we have any admin out there, no matter the level of admin you are, if you have to make some switches to improve your school or what have you, just be really thoughtful about it, because teachers have so much of their identity wrapped up in their jobs, and we can say that we shouldn't and that it is just a job and whatever, but like, unfortunately, the way we
It's
are
the nature of our
is that
being.
our work is very personal. So just make sure you're being thoughtful and you can stand by your decisions, I think is that my message to admin. And to the teachers who may be going through this now or through this in the future, we empathize and we send all our best. And guys, I was really dreading doing this episode, but thank you for talking it through with me. It went much better. I feel good than I thought it would. So,
I mean, right. Hindsight's what are they? Hindsight's 2020.
2020. Yep.
And like, it's nice that you can now look back on this and acknowledge the negative, but also know that, it actually led for you to
a better place.
career advancement.
Yeah.
And,
And there may be some people out there that are going through this and are having a very hard time talking about their journey and all of that. And I think being able to talk about it and share yours is hopefully going to help some of you out there that may be going through this too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're the ones where I read and it happens to people like year after year after year. Too,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or even like Erin's situation of like long-term sub, and then will you long-term sub for us again?
Yeah.
And then the job comes up at the school
And they give it to a different
they
person.
give it to somebody else,
Yep.
right? And like, that's sort of another like forced job change, or in the essence, just like not
Not taking care of their people.
not taking care of your people,
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
that have dedicated, time, money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and energy, to your building. And, it's sad.
And I
Yeah.
will say too,
Yeah.
if that happens, you do realize, I mean, we've all been through it in different ways, but like you do kind of realize that like, oh, I could have a sense of belonging somewhere else. And that like, it's really more about like,
Yeah.
like I can find people. It is possible. It's just, even though my identity was so wrapped up in that district, that culture, that thing, that school, like
You'll find it somewhere
You will
else.
find somewhere to
Yeah.
land. And it is, you can actually land. Like,
Yeah. And it may take a couple stops.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right.
But the people are out there. Your people are,
The right place is there for everybody.
All right, thank you for popping by Meaningfield today. Remember, we're here for you anytime. Our door is always open. You can visit our website at getmeaningfield.com for ideas and inspiration to bring to your classroom.
Follow us at Get Meaning Fueled on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Skies, and Threads, and just Meaning Fueled on Facebook.
You can share your own thoughts on this week's pop and maybe any experience you've had with forced job changes by commenting on any of our social media posts this week or by finding the full-length episode over on YouTube.
And you can send us your very own pops for us to discuss with a DM or at getmeaningfueled@gmail.com.